Since the Lord likes me telling all my business, let's talk about hidden sin, part 3. I was dating this guy that was also a believer. I really liked this guy. He was involved in his church. He had a great job, all the things. I really felt like I could marry him. But we were always running up against the issue of sex before marriage. And I would feel so much condemnation. And I felt like, why is it that he doesn't feel the condemnation that I feel? And I would say to him, yo, we have to get this right. I'm not okay with this. And one day he said to me, Angel, I have to use God's grace for this. He said, I do everything else right in my life, but the Lord knows that I cannot do that. How am I supposed to be in a relationship not having sex? Even if we're talking about being married, all these things, how is that possible? He said, Angel, this is what I need God's grace for. I have to use God's grace for this. And he wasn't saying it to me to convince me that sex was okay. But I knew by the way that he was saying it, that he was convinced of that lie. He was believing a lie. And you know what I did? I ended it. Because there was no way I could partner myself with someone that believed that lie. I was already struggling myself trying to understand how you can be a single Christian trying to date for marriage and not have sex. And I knew this person was not going to be the one that could help me overcome in this area. So even though it was hard, I ended it. See, I was already struggling in myself, feeling like, God, how is this possible? I had already been telling the Lord, God, there are lots of things I can do for you, but I cannot do that. That's impossible. Like, how could you even ask that of us? And the Lord was also showing me that I was believing a lie. It was sometime after that the Lord said to me, Angel, after you tell yourself over and over again that this is not possible and you can't do this, you allow the devil to start deceiving you to believe that what you think is true and that you can't do it. The other thing that I would tell the Lord is, God, when I'm starting to get to know someone, I'm starting to have feelings for them. I don't know how to express myself except through physicality. To me, that is part of the journey. That is part of showing your love. And I would say that to the Lord all the time. And the Lord said to me, you have a warped idea of what love is. And I was like, what, God? What do you mean? I don't need all the holding hands and I don't need the sweet words. And I really don't even need the words of affirmation. Physicality is how I show my love. And the Lord said, you have a warped idea of love. And I felt so little in that moment when he said that to me. And I said, God, what do you mean? He said, Angel, go look at 1 Corinthians 13. Where do I mention sex when I tell you what love is? This is what love is. You need to align your mind to what I say love is, not to the lie that you keep saying that love is. See, I was starting to be deceived by the devil, by my words, and also for the way that I thought about that. And the Lord said, that's not how you show love. I feel like the Lord wanted me to share that because I wonder how many of you felt like I did. I understand better now. But in those days and in those years of that, no one could convince me that I would be able to show love in any other fashion. Ultimately, in my opinion, it had to get to sex in order to really express love. But that's a lie. If you believe that, that's a lie. And I want you to go study 1 Corinthians chapter 13, 4-8. The Lord had me studying that and meditating on it for years until I finally got rid of that lie. And now I understand that having sex is not the way to show love. And it makes me think about how convinced I was of the lie, the same way that X was convinced that he had to use God's grace for that. If you align yourself to that lie, you open the door for deception and you really will start believing it, but it doesn't make it right. But do you understand that the truths that you believe are the ones that will take you to heaven or hell? This is why the devil operates in that space. How can I tell my ex that that's not true and God's grace is not for that when you're convinced of it? You have to allow God to deal with you in that space. And thank God I had enough integrity and I was wise enough to get away from that person because I needed to deal with my own demons when it comes to that. So don't have any hidden sin in your life. I cannot say it enough. Hidden sin opens the door for more deception.